The world is full of traps at every corner, ready to take away your masculine power. Just take a look at every famous movie or Netflix show being promoted or the types of people being idolized nowadays. Nothing escapes the elite's agenda of mind control. Men are being brainwashed to accept weakness. There is a very famous story about a fierce lion that I want you to hear. Once upon a time, there was a fierce lion feared by all. One day, the lion fell in love with the farmer's daughter, but there was a problem. The farmer hated the lion and, upon learning about the lion's love for his daughter, he wanted to do everything to stop it. So, the cunning farmer called the lion and said he would allow him to marry his daughter under one condition: he had to remove his sharp claws for her safety. The lion thought, well, it's just a small price for a great reward, why not? The lion goes to a rock and breaks his claws. The next day, he goes to the farmer and says, now I have no sharp claws, so give me your daughter's hand in marriage. But the cunning farmer tells him to do one more thing: remove his sharp teeth and fangs. The lion agrees to this condition as well and breaks his sharp fangs. However, when the lion returns to the farmer the next day, the farmer attacks and kills him. This time, the lion had no sharp claws or teeth to defend himself. Everything that gave strength to the lion, he voluntarily chose to give up, one by one. Remember, brothers, the world you live in today is no different. There are much greater forces at play that have carefully designed the matrix to keep you enslaved to your desires and impulses, and here's the harsh truth. You can blame the farmer or the elites as much as you want, but in the end, it was the lion who voluntarily chose to obey them. Strength is the virtue all men must follow, whether in their professional, financial, or romantic life. Every man naturally desires to feel dominant, strong, and powerful because that's who you are. All men crave a strong sense of purpose. Many of us don't have it because we indulge in behaviors that prevent us from becoming the strong men we were destined to be. Nowadays, men complain about everything, spend a lot of money on drugs and pornography, and even apologize to others for things that don't require apologies, and these habits make men weak. Number 1, mocking others. This is a point not many people talk about, but as a high-value man, you should never look down on others. Perhaps you've heard the example of the crab bucket, where a crab is about to escape from the bucket, and others pull it back down. If you find yourself mocking others, remember this: you are below them, period. Of course, that doesn't mean you shouldn't correct someone for their mistakes, but don't make fun of it. As a man, you need to teach and guide your brothers without resentment or ulterior motives. Remember, strong and confident men don't belittle others. Instead, listen to what Mike Tyson says about it: social media made you too comfortable with disrespecting people and not getting punched in the face for it. Number 2, failing to accept responsibility. Going back to the story of the lion and the farmer's daughter, the biggest reason the lion loses everything in the end comes down to him not being aware of his responsibility. His responsibility was to live as a lion. His sharp teeth and claws were part of what made him a lion, but he forgot this responsibility and chose to abandon it. The same happens in your life. Embrace your responsibilities with pride. I want you to say with me, I will honor my responsibilities with pride because they are what make me a man. The day you choose to escape from your responsibilities is the day you choose to abandon masculinity altogether. Memorize this quote by heart: the price of greatness is responsibility. Number 3, running away from failure. This is a challenge for many men nowadays. Most men always choose comfort over growth. Remember that growth is painful and often hidden behind failure. There is a famous example of a man digging for diamonds. He doesn't know how deep below the surface the diamond is, but he keeps digging. Initially, he only sees more dirt every time he digs, but he keeps digging. After a few hours or even days, he finds what he was looking for. Therefore, remember, brothers, failure is not the end. If that's the mindset you have, you can be sure you will never succeed at anything. Think of anything worthwhile to have. Let's say you start a business. At the beginning, you may face so-called failures as you try to learn the business and win over your customers. But when you stay in the game long enough and don't shy away from those temporary failures, you see yourself growing. The same goes for women. At the beginning, when you approach them, you may seem like a strange man who doesn't know how to interact, but your success is behind those temporary failures. This is a small price a strong man needs to pay for success. We are often trained as children to be ashamed of our mistakes and failures, to try to justify them by blaming someone else. You may have said, "It's not my fault," or "That person is to blame." Those are thoughts of a loser. I want you to listen to this quote and write it somewhere if you want. A weak man blames his failure on the strength of others. Number 4. Submission to feudal laws. Too easily, you want to know the difference between a coward and a high-value man? Simple, the coward will always align with the majority, even if what they're saying is clearly wrong. And the worst part is that the coward expects the high-value man to also submit to those feudal and malicious laws and regulations. A high-value man always examines and judges everything before deciding to follow. In today's world, we've been so conditioned to the mentality that you shouldn't judge or that you shouldn't do this or that. This is getting out of control. You are just a puppet and a lab rat at this point, submitting to all the agendas and laws they create. There's nothing wrong with obeying, but obey only what aligns with your purpose, your mission, and, above all, beyond God, nothing is above the law of the Almighty. Ask yourself if you're someone who easily gets intimidated and tries to please everyone. For some men, it can be incredibly difficult to learn to say no, but if you act based on truth, for the first time you'll understand that the world won't collapse around you. I've seen so many men lead a life of fear in marriage, as if their wives were some kind of tyrant, and they dare not speak or correct them. This is a clear example of feudal submission. Number 5. You have weak body language. The concept of body language is very important. This includes nonverbal cues like a handshake, eye contact, how you sit, walk, and how you move when you talk and interact with others. People can perceive if you are a strong or weak man by your body language. But the agendas have also turned against strong masculine body language. Be intentional with your body and maintain a masculine posture. Remember that your body language is easily the first and easiest way to prevent someone from taking advantage of you. Number 6. Wasting time. We've always discussed the importance of your younger days on this channel. Your 20s and even 30s, to some extent, are what we call the golden days. These are the days when you should build, and build. Think of a farmer planting a seed. He doesn't expect the seed to bear fruit the next day. In your 20s, just like the farmer plants seeds, you need to plant spiritual, emotional, and physical seeds that will help you grow. But here's the most important part: don't expect to reap those fruits immediately. Just keep planting. Before you know it, you will have planted forests and gardens that attract the right kind of life. By planting, I mean challenging yourself. That doesn't mean you have to hustle and work 24/7, but always keep in mind that these are the days when you have the most energy and opportunity to take the greatest risks. Use it to your advantage. Especially when you are young, you may feel like you are missing out, the culture of being with multiple people instead of investing in yourself. But resist the urge. You may not understand this now, but as you mature and age, you will thank yourself for not getting distracted. Listen to what the wisest man on earth has to say about your younger days. These are the words of Solomon: "Rejoice, young man, while you are young, and let your heart be glad in the days of your youth." Follow the ways of your heart and whatever your eyes see, but know that for all these things, God will bring you into judgment. 7th, being lazy and unproductive with your time. What time do you go to bed and what time do you wake up? How is your day structured? What do you do when you get back from work? These are all questions you need to take seriously. Don't think of them as a secondary task you can think about when you have free time. As a man who strives for success in all areas, you need to carefully plan your day. Think about why the powerful are so successful in building the matrix. Every aspect and area has been carefully planned. Similarly, think about every part of your day, the types of people you interact with, the kind of content you consume. If you don't have the right thoughts in your mind, be sure that you have given open access for the matrix to penetrate you. Laziness is the greatest enemy of men nowadays. As a man, you may have so many thoughts related to business or life, but never act upon them. If you allow laziness, it will gradually infiltrate you without you realizing it, devouring and preventing you from moving forward with your life in a productive way. Remember always, brothers, that weakness is the virtue of modern society. Weakness is what they pursue, but strength is your greatest virtue. Seek strength in every opportunity and remember that God is your greatest strength. And don't forget to show your support. Click the subscribe button and give a like for the algorithm to understand that the video is good and recommend it to more people. Stay on the screen and watch the videos that appeared here now. See you next time.